Thanks again for having me. My name is Taylor Stull. I'm the founder and CEO of Flowell. I'm based in Salt Lake City, Utah. My team is co-located because our company started in COVID. So I have three co-founders, one in Brooklyn, New York, another in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and another in Tampa, Florida. We've really created a company that we're aiming to position it as a first in world holistic health technology company. There's a lot of blurred lines between healthcare and wellness, and my background is in clinical innovation and community health. I've really had a passion for this space and really creating a scalable means of defining just how wellness behaviors, activity, and engagement can actually improve health outcomes and creating transparency for different populations of people about just how different interactions with service providers or with particular behaviors and activities can really move the needle for them in their personalized situation. And so our company is building a two-way streaming marketplace that's very similar to Etsy. So our core business is providing a digital backend for freelance holistic health professionals. We handle streaming, we handle payment, scheduling, and offering management. We also have learned from our customers that they're really in need of marketing support. And so we've developed a subscription package for users where they're able to come in, pay one flat monthly fee and access the services of a variety of holistic health practitioners. So we hit the pavement and really learned from our customers on both sides of our marketplace. While our core business is serving the service providers, we did learn that there are issues on both sides of our market. The service providers are trained, they're passionate, they're very motivated to help other people live a more healthy and well lifestyle, but they're not necessarily entrepreneurs like us in the sense of being savvy about how to market and how to manage offerings and pricing. And so Flowell supports them in that. Additionally, they don't have a solution to run a digital business. They are operating in a fractured system. It's YouTube, Venmo, Zoom, like this, all solutions that when pieced together might work, but it doesn't help them deliver a personalized solution, which is actually what I think the biggest learning was in speaking with holistic health practitioners is that they are not fitness instructors. There's a difference between fitness instructors and holistic health practitioners, and the main differentiator is that those practitioners need information about their clients in order to help them move forward with their personal health challenges and goals. Whereas fitness instructors largely go to work to help motivate individuals to exercise. They don't necessarily need that level of detail about the individual's health and goals. On the consumer side, what we learned was that in this more digital era where people want to shop, people are prioritizing their health and wellness, but there's a little bit of a lack of transparency as to who the right practitioner is that could help them or where they can access the programs, classes, or content that's going to be right for their needs. So Flowell solves that in our marketplace environment. Additionally, they don't, and this is actually a problem I ran into, there's a difficulty with existing solutions in receiving personalized feedback. And so you can see some of our competitors that are largely focused on fitness, they're pumping out content like Peloton and YouTube. But that content, while it may be right for what I like to call, sort of the wellness athlete, basically the long tail of the population of people who are seeking health and wellness, may not be athletes. They might, have a plus-sized body, or they might have aches and pains. And so the curation and the personalization of the services that can be found from providers who are ready and willing to help them are going to be much more valuable to them, but they don't have an access point. And so Flowell solves that through our two-way streaming marketplace and digital business solution for the long tail of service providers. We also understand that while our original this foundational two-way streaming business that handles these administrative functions for service providers is an excellent starting point, considering that it's applicable across a number of different domains: yoga, cognitive behavioral therapy, physical therapy, life coaching, right? Lots of different modalities or disciplines that can support an individual in improving physical and mental health. But we also understand that there is a future that spans both the real world and the digital world. And so what Flowell is doing to further the value offered to its service providers is by giving them an access point to create service offerings, videos, sessions, consultations that can be delivered in metaverse environments. And so I guess I jumped ahead a little bit. So forgive me, but I'm going to show you this because this makes sense in my narrative. What we're going to be doing for service providers is also providing them a way to choose an avatar, to choose a virtual environment where they can create classes that can be delivered in metaverse environments. This is not a near-term thing, right? We're very much a startup that is hyper-focused on proving our model in our two-way streaming marketplace. And we've been able to demonstrate some traction, but to give you the idea of where we're going and the value we'll provide to service providers, where Flowell, people won't be able to do business without Flowell because of the market access that we provide in both the real world and in the metaverse communities that are continuously growing here as Facebook kind of takes over and cryptocurrency and the blockchain become ubiquitous. But in terms of what we've done here in the last few months of operations with our beta version of our platform, we've demonstrated that we can acquire service providers at about a 25 to 30% conversion rate on a 50 to 150 inbound leads per week. This is primarily coming from Indeed.com. We're meeting the service providers where they are looking for flexible remote work. And then they look for a job, but they end up paying us to use our tools. We're monetizing them through an annual verification fee, which prioritizes them in our marketing engine, our recommendation engine. And then we also have pro features that will be available in 2022 that will roll out for an additional fee. On the consumer side, we have a subscription, as I mentioned, and then we also have a take rate so that any individual who may not be a subscriber, but is browsing the service offerings of providers who are running their businesses within our marketplace, if they choose to purchase an a la carte class or an a la carte program, Flowell will earn 20% commission on those purchases. Because we just launched our beta, we have not invested heavily into paid marketing yet. What we're learning is that our service providers that we've demonstrated a keen ability to acquire are actually acting as our marketing engine. They are promoting themselves. They are bringing in their audiences into our community and creating monetization opportunities for Flowell that doesn't necessarily cost on a per customer basis. So we're hyper focused on yoga to start, while our core technology, as I said, can be spanned across multiple disciplines. We are really laser focused on proving the model in a single modality. And before we expand into other holistic health categories like fitness, nutrition, life coaching here later in this year. This solution, because it's not healthcare, it's sort of towing the line of mobilizing service providers that support healthcare providers and keeping patients and people healthy. It's very internationally applicable. There are fitness instructors and yoga instructors and mental health therapists and life coaches all around the world. And they don't fit into necessarily a healthcare system that would create barriers for them to use our technology. And so our long-term monetization strategy is to really ramp up revenue is twofold. It's one, expand the core technology internationally, and then also drive new revenue by leveraging the value of our network. We've got an enormous amount of data on the service providers and who they engage with and the success rates of the people who they work with. And so being able to give access to that network to enterprises and to physicians who are aiming to refer their patients to holistic health practitioners to further care plans and treatment regimens, that provides immense value and creates new revenue opportunities for Flowell in the future as we continue to build our network. We talked about the metaverse, and then what we've done in terms of the movement in towards metaverse opportunities. We've submitted a provisional patent this past fall that locks in personalization software in our two-way streaming traditional environments where an instructor can deliver personalized services to multiple participants based on their health challenges. And then we've also patented that, or have the technology represented in the patent for that same functionality in augmented and virtual reality. So what we're aiming to spend in this upcoming year is largely on sales and marketing. We're really charging hard towards product market fit. We've got diverse offerings within our platform, specialized providers that can cater to an aging population, people who are just starting out, people who are suffering from stress, anxiety, and burnout. And so really aiming to find our niche in terms of what is going to allow us to scale on, to scale our the demand side of our marketplace, and really to ramp up efforts in growing our instructor base, as that has proven to be our primary driver of student acquisition. In the long term, what we're aiming to do, we do have agency partners for digital marketing and engineering. And so in 2023, we would have the goal of raising a seed round of $3 million at a $10 to $15 million valuation to bring engineering and marketing in-house. And right now, we have a team of 4, myself and 3 others. As I mentioned, we're all co-located. Matt is a growth scientist, previously built and an inventor. He built the quick launch technology that's now in every Apple and Samsung device that all of us have. If you need to send an SOS signal, Matt invented that. Ayana was at ESPN before coming to us. She leads brand and marketing. She is a holistic health expert and yoga instructor, so brings the voice of a customer into the team. And then Mike is an entrepreneur, primarily in nutrition, but he's like the hardest worker in the room is the way I describe him, and does a great job at working with our instructor base, handling customer service, our sales funnels is really his primary role on the team. We are raising now. So we have 1 million pre-seed round on an $8 million cap. As I mentioned, we're targeting a true price seed round next year, in the beginning of the year, in 2023, at a $10 to $15 million valuation. We have a 20% discount. Thus far, we've total funds raised to date are about $650,000. And so aiming to finish this up here in this quarter. And, I didn't come here to ask for money. I came here to ask for feedback and for, support. And, there's certainly other ways that I believe this community could help the Flowell team. So the two primary ways that I would think that you all could potentially help me is feedback on the model based on your own experiences in bringing a product to market, given the stage of the business that we're at, challenges that you've faced and corners that we might not see just yet. And then also, if you do have individuals in your network who have historically invested in fitness, health, and wellness companies, if there is interest in sharing our deck or making an introduction to those individuals, that would be extremely valuable for myself and for the team.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing, Taylor. This is really fascinating on a number of fronts. So let's get to the questions here, because I've got a bunch, but I get a lot of questions going on here. So Eric wants to know, how much work will your providers have to do to promote themselves? In other words, can they work hard and make themselves a super provider with a large audience, or is everyone promoted equally? How does that work?
Sure. So to promote themselves, it's largely on their own, right? And so that comes through email, their existing email lists and social media. What Flowell does is provide them with a content schedule, because what we've learned from our customers is the hardest part is not necessarily doing the work, it's and posting, it's what do I talk about? And by creating a community environment that has a common narrative around holistic health and wellness, they can align themselves and their brand to what the broader community is speaking to. So Flowell is providing our service providers with templated content, blogs, suggestions that take the guesswork out of what they have to say on a month-to-month basis.
Got it. Interesting. I want to talk about that too.
Sure.
Rupert has a question. Have you pitched any accelerators?
Just the only one that we've pitched is Lead. I guess it's outside of Orlando. Like, no,
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of them. I mean, obviously the big ones are 500 Startups and Y Combinator.
Yeah.
There's Draper. I'm looking for capital too. And so I've come across hundreds of these places. I strongly recommend that you do a little research and start pitching to the accelerators, because they're all opening up their own cohorts now. And, the Rollins venture competition is coming up. Sean was mentioning that earlier. So that's something that I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I strongly suggest you go to the Rollins Center for Entrepreneurship and take a look at that. And I think the deadline is Friday, right? 2 days from now. So
it's on Friday, but unfortunately, I don't think they have any co-founder or somebody in the team part of Orange County. I was looking at it. I don't think. Do you have anybody in your team?
No, we don't.
No.
That will hurt you. Yeah.
But in terms of accelerators, Rupert, that's certainly an avenue that we're going to open up exploration to. We've really been primarily focused on pulling in and getting introduced to strategic angels who believe in the vision and what we're doing to support the team and the vision and the project.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we can collaborate a bit, because I know I've got over 400 investors in my database that I know personally. And, I'm following up on them and whatnot. Plus, I've got another email list of several thousand that I'm trying to hit. But I'm running into my our issues as well, which is one of the questions that I ask later in a minute.
Yeah, we definitely run into our issues too. So happy to share.
Awesome. Tammy's question is, doesn't Google Maps and Google My Business provide the same info for free?
Depends on what info you're looking for. If you type, Tammy, would you mind maybe specifying your question a bit in terms of what information that is that you're speaking to?
Hey, Taylor, thanks for the presentation. So as a self-employed therapist for 11 years, what I've discovered is that I am found by word of mouth and by Google searches. Parents don't find me on apps and definitely not on printed material. So I was just wondering what your company or what your business would offer folks that would entice them to pay money for information they can find free on Google. Or word of mouth, or by word of mouth locally.
Sure. So I think that so you're speaking to the consumer, from the consumer perspective.
Both. Actually, both. I mean, so as a self-employed therapist, starting a business, it's really tough when you don't have money to do like printed advertising. And so we look for free ways to get our business out there. And so connecting with families. And so I work with kids. So that's why I would cater to parents and families and organizations that work with kids.
Mm-hmm.
So both as a provider and as someone who might be for myself looking for maybe another therapist for a family that I can't help.
Yep. So I'll start on the service provider side. So Flowell is an additional channel to access new customers. It does not stop you from continuing to use word of mouth and positioning yourself in Google. But what it does is because we are aiming to sort of be the one-stop shop for not just your therapy services, but for services in yoga, therapy, and fitness and diet. Consumers who are looking for that shopping experience may tend to gravitate towards Flowell, and you're having a studio, as we call it, on Flowell may create access to new customers for you. It's just a new marketing channel. Additionally, you are one of the few, I believe, who made it through the struggle of getting your business and as a solo entrepreneur, ranking in Google and understanding your marketing channels. Most people, at least that I've spoken to, do not know how to do that in your field, and they're trained and they're motivated. But what they spend most of their time doing is not increasing their knowledge on the business front, but more so on the practical side of their practice. And so we can support them in creating opportunities to access new customers and to streamline service delivery with our turnkey business solution. And then last is that largely what we've learned just over the short few months that we've been operating are that the service providers who are running their business on Flowell are really looking for a solution that's flexible. So this is not a full-time business that they're running. It's a side hustle, if you would. So we're almost mobilizing the passion economy within the health and wellness vertical, which currently doesn't have a home on places like Fiverr and Upwork and Thumbtack, et cetera. On the student front, I mentioned a reason why they would choose Flowell is that it's a single subscription to access a multitude of providers. They can shop, they can see the success rates with other students and participants just like them. And they're able to access very simply a variety of types of content, classes, and programs. So if their needs today are that they're stressed and feeling burnt out, then there's a collection and service offering available for them in Flowell. But if, in 2 weeks from now, that need changes and they're now feeling that it's time to sort of pick up pick up meditation, and they have absolutely no idea how to do that. That same subscription is going to create access to classes, content, and programs that can support them in bridging that gap in their wellness journey. So that diversity and ability to shop is the value that Flowell provides to a consumer that might not be found just in a simple Google search.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that. Great question too. Thank you. Do you have revenues yet? And if not, have you received any blowback on that?
What does blowback mean? Sorry.
So have you gotten anyone giving you, first of all, do you have any revenues? Have you?
Yes. So our primary revenue, it's really 80-20. The instructor subscription to become verified has been the primary driver of revenue. I've done about $9,000 in revenue, about 4,000 pre-launch, and in the last quarter, about a little more, 5,000. And then in terms of the transactions, we've done maybe $1,500 in transaction just on the 20% commission here in the last quarter.
Okay, so you have revenue, which is great. First of all, congratulations on that. So
thanks.
You got some level of viability here that people are actually started paying for the service. I think that
absolutely.
That's what Rupert's question was alluding to. Yep. Sean, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, Taylor, it's a great presentation.
Thank you.
I agree 100% with Tammy. I think you should be thinking about word of mouth is the best way to start. That's the best way for the startups till they know you. We always encourage people to think big, but start small. Okay. So other thing is you are covering so many things, rightfully so. But the most important for last few years, because of Corona and everything, is a stress and anxiety all over the globe. Almost 99% of us have it. If they say no, they are lying. Okay, so that's all depends upon mental health. You mentioned a little bit on the passing, but mental health may be the first one you should be addressing. It all starts with the brain. We think about it. Everything causes all the illness, and everything is because of the mental health. So if you can focus on it, master it, make it happen, everything will go under it then. You can sell all the things you are trying to do under that umbrella. So I encourage that. Other one is, what is your exit strategy? If you go for pitching and raising money, the number one priority for them is, investor, when are you going to make my money? How am I going to make money? Within 3 to 5 years, I want to get out and I want to buy an island. That's what they're thinking while you're pitching. So you have to think about that. Those are a couple of things. Otherwise, a great presentation.
Thank you. If I could just follow up, Sean, with the question. In terms of the word of mouth that you mentioned, I totally agree that it's the best way to start. And that's what we're really aiming to incentivize our instructors to do, is to sort of spread the word with their micro communities, because they already have trust with the people that they're connected to, versus Flowell aiming to, build a net new relationship with an individual. Is that what you mean by word of mouth, or is there a specific example?
It starts at the top. You are the one setting the vision and mission and goal and everything. Your number one priority is the customer's health. Health starts with their brain and the mental health and everything. That's where you should be focusing on. That's your end goal. That's your North Star as a business. If you think along that line, you start like that and use those people who are helping they promote you. Word of mouth is the best, bar none, advertisement. You check it, your Google, not Google, maybe Amazon or your Apple, or Costco, all those are word of mouth. They are spending zero marketing budget. Check it out.
Yeah, I think you two are on the same page.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Cool. Yeah.
Joey says he loves this idea, and maybe he missed the detail, but is there any way to incorporate an NFT for communities that are being built? Maybe the NFT is what enables the utility to flex what resources they use.
So we're minting an NFT in 2 weeks. Sorry, I didn't mention that. That should have been, I gotta have a slide in that. I took it out. But yeah, we have a mint pass launching in 2 weeks. And then we have the full collection. It's called Flowell Society in the beginning of January, or excuse me, beginning of February. Initial utility, it's all about utility because we have a community of service providers. And so NFT holders will be able to access the community outright. And then proceeds will fuel our some of our metaverse activities. So delivering a virtual reality class, gamifying our engagement in our platform to create a wellness to earn ecosystem, and then also if we were able to fully subscribe the NFT collection, then what we'll aim to do is actually mint a coin, a cryptocurrency that would be able to be earned and transacted on public exchanges. So it's truly, the more you engage in Flowell activities and services, the more that you are demonstrating a healthy lifestyle and sharing that with our community, the more that you have the opportunity to earn both cryptocurrency and then also our NFT is evolving. So in the metadata of the smart contract, it's tied to Flowell, where the more you do, the avatar actually evolves, unlocking the rare properties that increase the value of the NFT. So it's a great question, Joey, and we're absolutely on top of it and moving in that direction.
Nice. Yeah, NFTs are getting exciting. Lou has his hand up. Go ahead, Lou.
Okay, three things. First of all, as it occurred to me during your presentation, what Sean said relative to the mental health areas that have developed over the past 2 years during the pandemic, I agree with him wholeheartedly. I think that is low-hanging fruit, that is untapped, because you're providing a high-tech solution to an industry and thereby a disruptor by definition that will allow greater access to the mental health industry. And I think that is what Sean was indicating clearly. That is a primary market. You should focus on it as to how to address it. Second, you're at least in part dancing with the core health industry. You're kind of on the periphery there. So this may or may not apply to you, but there are laws and regulations relative to HIPAA. And I'm wondering, relative to the consumer data that you have and what is transmitted, how you would be addressing the HIPAA rules and regulations that may or may not apply to you. There's a third point, but I'll leave it at that for right now.
Yeah, no, so we've been very intentional to not handle PHI in our initial rollout. It's as we, given the compliance concerns or risks involved with handling and usage of PHI, for us in terms of getting to market as a wellness focused company, and specifically with our starting point of yoga, it's not necessary to provide that personalized service. So that's where we are now. However, it is absolutely on the roadmap to be a company that handles PHI in future as we continue to provide personalized recommendations based on the health challenges of our community members.
Okay, very good.
That's
going to be interesting when you get to that point.
Oh my gosh!
I wouldn't rush too fast towards.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I worked for Mount Sinai Health System in Manhattan and doing clinical innovation, and then a clinical analytics startup. So yeah, I'm super familiar with all of the the hoops to jump through with handling PHI, and I made the very intentional decision to not go there right out of the gate.
Good. Mark says, cool idea. Insight Timer has revamped their application and has become more of a B2B2C marketplace. And he says it might be worth checking out in terms of user experience if you're not familiar with it.
No, I am. Yeah, I would say that that's a major competitor. And I did see that they have live classes that are starting, live classes where people can pay. So it'll be interesting. Major differentiator, Mark, is the student community and personalization aren't so much of a focal point for Insight Timer. It's mainly just providing that turnkey solution for providers. So certainly a competitor, and have definitely checked out user experience to inform our instructor onboarding.
Cool. Rupert says, have you thought about gamifying your process?
Yes, Rupert. We have, as I'm sure anybody in this room know with software, it's all about phasing. So our initial rollout was primarily focused on providing the full end-to-end solution for the service providers to run their business. We don't have a business if they don't have a business. So that in our beta solution, that's what we focused on. However, on our roadmap, with the NFT specifically, it's going to fuel the gamification.
Nice. And Joey's all excited about your NFT, but he wants to know, what platform are you considering the crypto to be built on? Have you thought about that far along?
We haven't thought that far yet, okay. Joey. And honestly, the mastermind is my co-founder, Matt. I know enough about it in terms of the strategy and utility and whatnot, but the architecture itself lives in another brain on my team.
Nice. Okay, we're running out of time. I just want a couple of quick things real quick, and I'm gonna turn it over to Eric. I like your business model. I like it a lot. Your verification fee is perfect. And in fact, what you're really doing, if you position it right, is it's a success fee. What you're doing is you're helping them make that initial investment and getting them set up for success, as opposed to, hey, just hop on our platform and it's another marketplace where you got no freaking idea what to do. Because you being a marketplace, these are commodities. There's thousands of marketplaces. We were just talking about this before we had this meeting. Someone got me on this platform called Alignable for business people, and never gotten anything from it. It's just another one of those platforms you get on, you don't know what to do. So I appreciate that you said in the beginning what I think is your truest differentiator on the business side, not branding, but just business. And that's the marketing aspect. And I know you say marketing very broadly, but I think what you're really saying is client acquisition, which is 3 stages. There's branding, which is the message. There's marketing, which is amplifying that message. And then there's sales conversation, which is now that someone's in your circle, how do you help them become a client? How do you move that conversation forward? And I've seen a lot of platforms that they say they're going to do this. They say they're different. They're going to help people become successful. And all they do is they just offer a warehouse. So if you're serious about this, this really could be a big differentiator for you. If you really put that time and effort into the onboarding to make sure that these non-business people have a healthy business, and they can take what you teach them and they can go elsewhere with it too. They can go to Google My Business and actually have a freaking message, actually share with people what they stand for, and not just be another, I'm a physical trainer, I'm a yoga instructor. Because if I hear another yoga instructor tell me they're a yoga instructor, my mind's gonna explode because everyone says the same crap. So I just want to say that that's something, if you're serious about, grab onto that and take it seriously, and it'll make a big difference. All right, sure. Rant over. Off to you, Eric, for the final question.
All right. I was actually going to mention that too, until Josh did, is make sure you teach and have webinars, not just videos that they can go watch, but have webinars where they can learn how to successfully promote themselves. I mean, teach them personal branding and teach them promotion. So, so anyway, the actual final question is, what can we as a community do for you?
At risk of repeating myself, so the feedback has been awesome. I've taken a bunch of notes, so much appreciated the candor of this community. And then given that we are aiming to raise, so if there are individuals in your network who are interested in sort of next gen fitness, health, and wellness companies, and just learning more, and then would very much welcome any introductions. If you yourselves are interested in learning more, Joey, if you want to dig into the NFT project that we're working on, happy to connect. But yeah, that would be the main thing that this community could support me and the team with.
Okay, that sounds great.